Welcome to another day for Crush My Dental Boards. So, ang topic natin today ay lymphatic drainage of the head and neck. Okay, so we're done discussing um, arterial supply. We're done discussing venous supply. And if you have any questions on that, you guys know that you can always post it in the group. And then if I'm free, I can answer it, or whoever knows sa group can answer the questions as well. So, alam yun, huwag kayong mahiya. So today, ang topic natin ay lymphatic drainage of the head and neck. Okay. So, what is lymph? I'll just take you back to like simple definitions of what it is. So lymph is a clear fluid that would flow within your lymph capillaries. So when we talk about lymph, it's basically your interstitial fluid. Okay, so that's your lymph. Ang basic purpose nun ay to bathe tissue cells. It would carry oxygen and nutrients, and it would take out waste. So yung mga cells sa katawan natin, nakababad siya sa fluid, your interstitial fluid, and that fluid comprises part of the lymph. Okay, so that clear fluid, as mentioned there, it carries oxygen, it carries nutrients, but it also takes out wastes. So once the lymph would carry the nutrients to the cells, it would again travel back to circulation and at the same time take out the waste. So as it take out waste, it would pass through the lymphatic vessels. Okay? And as it passes through the entire lymphatic vessels, it would also pass through certain areas like your lymph nodes. So what are your lymph nodes? Right here on the drawing on the right, you'd see nodes. They are small oval bodies along your lymphatic vessels. So itong mga lymph nodes na to, basically they are filters. Okay? So they filter the lymph. Sinasala nila yung mga microorganisms, sinasala nila yung waste products. So basically, the lymph that would pass out or that would pass through your lymph nodes would eventually be clean, and it would go back to the blood circulation. So it would go back to the blood vessels. Okay. So they say that the lymph, it's a clear fluid, so it doesn't contain any red blood cell. Okay, what does it contain? The lymph would contain immune cells, white blood cells, lymphocytes. So what's the primary purpose of the lymph and the lymph nodes? Basically, they're the ones fighting any form of infection within the body. So I don't know if you've noticed it, but whenever you have sore throat or colds or coughs, di ba, namamaga yung lymph node. Usually, makakapanyo sila under the jaw and alongside your neck, along the length of your neck, just like this, and along the inferior border of your mandible. So that's where most of the lymph nodes are located. Aside from the neck area, we can also see concentration of lymph nodes in the axillary area and mesenteries and in the groin area. So that would be your inguinal lymph node. So ito yung mga areas where lymph nodes are concentrated. So ano ibig sabihin kapag may enlarged na lymph node? It just means that there's an infection going on somewhere in your body. Okay? And usually, kung saan yung enlarged lymph node, that's the area that's close as to where the infection is. So kung yung namamaga yun sa may ilalim ng jaw, then the infection could just be like somewhere in the head and neck area. Okay? So that's basic review of what your lymph nodes are and what are your lymph vessels. Okay, now, so we said that the lymph would flow. So from the tissues, lymph would go into your lymph capillaries and eventually it would go back to your blood circulation. Now, the flow, how does it drain? Kaya nga lymphatic drainage, diba? So how does it drain? So first, it drains in a primary lymph node. That's the first filter. And then as it moves towards the lymphatic vessels, it would again go through a secondary lymph node. So double filtration. Okay, so double filtration before it even goes back to the venous circulation. So take note, it doesn't go back to arterial circulation, it goes back to venous circulation. Now, what are the different types of lymph nodes that we have concentrated in the head and neck area? So first we have your superficial lymph nodes right here. Why is it called superficial? Based on the name itself. They're superficial. They're just, they're closer to the surface. Okay, so you have different types of superficial lymph nodes. You have your submandibular, you have submental, you have your superficial parotid, your retroauricular or your mastoid, and then you have your occipital. So where are they located? So you can see here, this is your submandibular, sub, under, mandibular, mandible. Submental, sub, under, mental, your chin area. And then you have your superficial parotid right here. So the superficial parotid is close to your parotid gland. And then you have your retroauricular. So retro meaning posterior, auricular pertains to your ear. So you have your retroauricular or your posterior auricular or your mastoid because it's right there in the area. And then you have your occipital nodes. Okay, so usually when we talk about primary lymph nodes, we are dealing with your superficial lymph nodes. So the lymph would pass through your superficial lymph nodes and then move on to going through the deeper ones, especially the deep cervical nodes. Later on, you'll see almost all of them would drain to your deep cervical nodes. Okay, so we have the superficial lymph nodes, we have the deep lymph nodes. So for the deep lymph nodes, you have your retropharyngeal. So where would you see your retropharyngeal? Well, you can't see it right here, but this is your oral cavity. So your pharynx must be somewhere right down here. So you have your retropharyngeal, and then deep parotid would still be on that same area, but deeper away from the skin layer. Okay, and then your deep cervical nodes. Actually, for the deep cervical nodes, you have two types as well. You have superior deep cervical nodes, and you have inferior deep cervical nodes. Anong difference ng dalawa? Well, one is called superior deep. So, ibig sabihin, nandun siya sa may taas. Taas banda, pero deep. And the other one is inferior deep cervical node. So, it's located on the more inferiorly, but also deep. So, meaning it's not just along the skin or the fascia. Okay, so that's your drainage flow. Okay, next. So here you'd see, I guess you'd see them more clearer. So dito makikita nyo meron kang infraorbital node, buccal node, mandibular node. These are regional nodes. Okay, so these are like scattered lymph nodes within the face area, but they are not your primary node. So they would eventually drain into your superficial lymph nodes. So again, submental, closer to your chin. Submandibular would be closer to, the floor of the mouth. And then retropharyngeal. Yan, mas nakikita na siya dito. And then you have your mastoid nodes, or your retroauricular. And then you have your, ito na, yung mga deep cervical nodes. Okay. Now, on the diagram on your right, you'll basically see what each part would be draining into. Okay? So, makikita nyo dyan, hold on. Okay. So makikita nyo dito yung mga areas, kung ano yung mga dinidrain nila. Like for example, submental nodes. So you see it here, by the chin area, and you see the vessels coursing through it. So based on the picture itself, pinaghirapan kong hanapin tong picture na to, by the way, because I couldn't find one like this. But buti na lang may provision si Lord. So submental nodes. The submental nodes would basically drain your lower lip, your mandibular incisors, the anterior portion of the floor of your mouth, the tongue apex, and your chin. So, sakto yung drawing, di ba? Galing. So, that's your submental nodes. Now, your submandibular nodes, on the other hand, they would drain a bigger area. So, that's why your submandibular nodes, based on this diagram, it would reach even as far as your lower eyelids, your nose, your cheek area, your upper lip, right here, your palatal area, and then you have your maxillary teeth. Yan, dinaanan niya, maxillary teeth. And then you have your mandibular teeth, well, except the incisors. Kasi yung mandibular incisors would drain to your submental nodes. Okay? So, again, for the submandibular nodes, it would drain your lower eyelid area, your nose, your cheeks, your maxillary sinus area, your upper lip, your palatal area. You have your submandibular and sublingual gland. You have your tongue. And then you have your maxillary teeth. Well, maxillary teeth, take note, except your third molars. So, kung nakita nyo tong diagram na to, iba yung nakakabit sa third molars. Okay? So, all maxillary teeth except the third molars, and all mandibular teeth except your mandibular incisors. Okay? So, that's the drainage areas of your submental and your submandibular nodes. Now, for your parotid nodes, so basically, covered dyan yung drainage from the eyes, your scalp area, your ear area, and even your lacrimal gland. Lacrimal gland, your tear gland. Okay? So, on the retroauricular side, the diagram on your left, for the retroauricular side, it basically drains your scalp and your external ear. So, dito siya. Scalp and then external ear. Kasi retroauricular, diba? So, it should be somewhere here at the back. And then your occipital, well, basically it drains your scalp area. Okay. So, again, if you guys have any questions or clarifications, just let me know. And we'll see what we can do to answer your question. All right. So, again, this picture would basically show you the drainage area, especially for your submental nodes and submandibular nodes, and also your superficial parotid nodes. Okay, next. Now, this diagram right here would show you the pathway where stuff drains. And on the right side, this is actually the drainage of the tongue. Okay, so let's go to the right side first. Now, with the tongue, as mentioned earlier, the tip of the tongue, because it's closer to the chin part, it would drain into your submental lymph node. Now, the lateral sides of the tongue, as what you can see here, it would drain into your submandibular lymph node. So what does this arrow mean? So this arrow on one side means it would drain unilaterally to your submandibular lymph node. So this part on the left, if you're looking at it, this is the left side of the patient. So the left side of the tongue would drain into the left side submandibular lymph node. The right side of the tongue, right side. Okay? Yan yung ibig sabihin ng arrow na yan. Now, this one right in the middle, So in the body of the tongue, right in the middle, dead smack center, ano ibig sabihin ng arrow na to? Lymph can drain bilaterally. So it means on both sides. So lymph coming from this area can drain either onto the left or to the right, inferior deep cervical lymph nodes. Okay, so bilateral draining sa middle portion ng tongue. Now, on the posterior part of the tongue, where the tonsils are located, it would eventually drain into your superior deep cervical lymph nodes. Okay, so this is the lymphatic drainage of your tongue. So I think, yeah, with this diagram, I got this from First Aid, NBDE. So what you have to take note of this, the tongue, although it's just one muscle, but it has different drainages. It depends on location. Tip of the tongue, submental lymph node. Sides of the tongue, you have your submandibular lymph nodes. The center of the tongue, completing the anterior 2/3 of it, would drain into your inferior deep cervical lymph nodes. And then the posterior side and even the tonsillar area would drain into your superior deep cervical lymph nodes. Now, this diagram on your left, the picture on your left, would just show you where the nodes are located. So as mentioned earlier, when we talk about submental nodes, it's the one closer to the chin area. So it's right there on the center. Now, as to the submandibular nodes, they're located alongside the inferior border of your mandible. That's why if you would relate this picture to the one on your right, when we said earlier that the tongue can drain unilaterally into the submandibular lymph nodes, this is the reason why. Because on both sides of the inferior border of the jaw, you can see submandibular nodes. That's why on the left side, it can drain here. The right side of the tongue can drain on this other side. Okay? Now, these are your primary nodes. Remember I said earlier, the lymph would pass through the primary nodes and then they would go to your secondary nodes. Primary nodes are most of them are superficial ones. And in-enumerate natin kanina ano yung mga superficial ones. So you have your submental, you have your submandibular, you have your parotid, and then you have your occipital and your mastoid. So those are the superficial ones. They're considered your primary nodes. So as lymph would pass through the primary nodes, it would pass through the first stage of filtration. Where did they go from there? As I said, after they pass through the first set of lymph nodes, the lymphatic vessels would then carry them towards your secondary lymph nodes. So, etong diagram na to, na nasa left, this is where you'll see your secondary lymph nodes. So here, along the length of your neck, these are your cervical nodes. We said earlier, you have two types of deep cervical nodes. You have your superior deep cervical nodes and you have your inferior deep cervical nodes. So basically, what happens is anything that would pass through your submental and your submandibular nodes would eventually pass through your deep cervical nodes and then go back into venous circulation. So where can we see that? We can actually see that in this diagram. I got this from First Aid NBDE. I just modified it a little based on MOSB, NBDE. Okay, so going back, as mentioned earlier, we have your primary nodes. So for the primary nodes, you have For the primary nodes, you have your superficial ones. Okay, you have your superficial ones. These are the primary. You have your occipital, your mastoid, your parotid, paulit-ulit, submandibular, submental. Okay, first pass. This is the first level of nodes that they go through. Now, when they pass through these different types of nodes, where do they go next? So, as mentioned earlier, after the first phase, they would go through the secondary node, which is most likely your superior deep cervical and your inferior deep cervical, well represented by your jugulodigastric and your jugulo-omohyoid node. Okay, so the arrows would show where they would eventually drain. So take submental, for example. The submental node, so we said anything that's close to the chin. You have the tip of the tongue, the floor of the mouth, your mandibular incisors, central part of your lower lip, you have the skin of your chin. First pass. Where would they go next? According to the book, they would either go to your submandibular nodes, or they would just go directly to your secondary node, which is your deep cervical lymph nodes. And then on this one, you would see your submandibular nodes would eventually drain again into your deep cervical nodes. So lahat ng primary, basically, ang ending niya, it would go to your deep cervical lymph nodes. Easy, diba? So primary would be your superficial, secondary would be your deep. Eventually, they'd all end up in your deep cervical lymph nodes. So even the deep nodes, such as your retropharyngeal and your deep parotid, they would eventually go into your deep cervical lymph nodes. Okay? Anong pinagkaiba nitong superficial na to sa deep na to? It's basically location. But when it comes to primary or secondary, both of them, superficial and deep nodes, can be considered primary. Kasi yung secondary, lahat sila would eventually drain into your deep cervical. Okay, so the deep cervical would be your actual secondary lymph node. Okay, now let's see. So lahat ng lymph, dumaan na siya sa primary node. And then it traveled again downwards, dumaan na siya sa deep cervical node. Where would it go next? Sabi natin, diba, eventually all these lymph after filtration would go back to your venous circulation. How? Now, if you would follow this this route, so on the left side with the left deep cervical node, this one would eventually drain into your left jugular lymph trunk. And then from the left jugular lymph trunk, it would drain into your thoracic duct. And then from the thoracic duct, it would go back to your venous circulation via the venous angle. Saan makikita yung venous angle na yan? It's between your left subclavian vein and your left internal jugular vein. So if you would take a look at this picture on your right, so the thoracic duct, it's the green one, it would eventually drain into this angle, your venous angle, between your left internal jugular vein and your left subclavian vein. Okay, so that's the left side. What about the right side? On the right side, same path, but just like different names. So you have your right deep cervical node draining into your right jugular lymph trunk, and then it would drain into your right lymphatic duct. So it's not called thoracic duct, but it's called your right lymphatic duct. And eventually, from the right lymphatic duct, it would drain right into your right subclavian vein. As you would see here, on this picture. So right lymphatic duct, the green one, it attaches itself onto your right subclavian vein. Siyempre yung right internal jugular vein, nandun lang siya sa gilid. So what's the difference between the left and the right? Well, on the left side, it would drain right at this angle, at the junction of your left internal jugular and left subclavian. And you call it thoracic duct. But on the right, it remains your right lymphatic duct. And it would just drain to your subclavian vein. What else is this diagram here on the right showing you? Well, aside from the drainage itself, the picture, if you would notice that on the person's right side, from the head down to the right arm, to the hand, so all these things, they would just drain onto the right side. So, ibig sabihin, lahat ng lymph na dumadaan dito sa area na to, sa shaded ng blue, they would all go into your right lymphatic duct and then into your right subclavian vein and then back to the heart. Yung lymph. What about on the left side? So the left side of the body, or your thoracic duct, the thoracic duct on the left is actually the main lymphatic drainage, not just of the head and neck area, but almost the entire body. So the rest na hindi na-cover ng blue, all these body parts covered here, shaded in, I don't know what color that is. Itong light colored na to, they would all drain into your left side, which is your thoracic duct. Okay, so nakikita niyo yung thoracic duct, di ba? It's right here, thoracic duct. So it extends down, but it also has an extension on top. So all the left side of the body, including the head, the neck area, the thoracic area, pelvic, lower limbs, and your left limb, they would all drain into your thoracic duct. And then from your thoracic duct, it would enter, lymph would enter the venous circulation at this venous angle. Okay? So, left side, mas malaki yung coverage. All lymph on the left side of the body would eventually drain into your thoracic duct. Now, on the right side, again, so from the head down to your right hand, they would drain into your right lymphatic duct. Any questions? Before I even go on, may katanungan ba? I mean, wala masyadong thrill yung lymphatic vessels. It's just that. At least for the head and neck. So, do you have any questions? If you understand, kindly type in 1 because I cannot see you. At least I'll know. Or if you have a question, then just type in Q and then your question. Let's give it about, I don't know, a few seconds. Kasi for sure may lag. So type in 1 if you get it, and then Q if you have a question. So sabi ni Jessica 1, sabi ni Diana 1, sabi ni Facebook user 1, si Ven 1, Irvin 1. Either sobrang dali ng lymphatic system na wala kayong katanong-tanong, or I don't know, siguro nga masyado lang siya talaga madali. So we're good? Any questions on venous drainage, arterial supply, and this one, up to this point? Meron? Wala? Either yun nga, dalawa lang, ayan, either sobrang dali ng topic, or talagang, gagaling lang talaga kayo. Yun na lang yung papaniwalaan ko. Mabilis kayo makaintindi. Okay, so what do you have to basically remember when it comes to the lymphatic drainage? Well, take note of this picture that's right there on your screen. So if you're asked, what is the main lymphatic drainage of the body? Like in general, it would be your thoracic duct. And on which side is it? It's on the left side. Kasi tignan nyo na lang yung diagram, di ba? Skewed siya. Mas marami yung dinedrain sa left side. But then on the right side, yun lang, concentrated lang siya sa head, and then like a bit half, and then your right hand. And that would eventually drain into your right lymphatic duct, entering your right subclavian vein. Okay. All right. See, sobrang bilis lang niya. Kaya, naghanda naman ako dahil feeling ko talaga mabilis lang siya. Okay. So, dahil mabilis lang siya, kaya nyo pa? Let's move on. Cranial nerves. Disclaimer, I will not finish cranial nerves today. I mean, like, this time, kasi baka mamaya madaling araw na. May pasok pa. Alright, cranial nerves. Do you miss this? Cranial nerves. Na-miss niyo ba siya? Okay, so what is your fondest memory about your cranial nerves? Ano ang pinaka-naalala ninyong tinuro sa inyo about cranial nerves? Siyempre, unang-unang tinuturo, di ba, how to memorize your cranial nerves in order, of course, in order from 1 to 12. So, I don't know anong tinuro sa inyo nung GA ninyo about your cranial nerves. But I remember these. So, depende kung sino yung teacher ninyo. Anong meaning ng mga letters na yan? Kung paano tinuro sa inyo. Naalala nyo ba kung anong meaning ng mga yan? Or kung paano siya pinamemorize sa inyo? Tingnan ko nga mga comment ninyo. So, what do those letters mean? O-O-O. T-T-A-F-A-G-V-A-H. So, and then the other one can be O-O-O-T-T-A-F-V-G-V-A-H. Well, kaya nang naman nag-refer yung A at saka yung V dito sa part na to, it's because of another name for it, diba? But, can you recall anong meaning niyan nung tinuro sa inyo? I mean, how you can easily memorize it. Or binigay lang sa inyo straight out na 1 ay olfactory, 2 ay optic, 3 oculomotor, 4 trochlear, 5 trigeminal. Paano nyo siya memorize? Totoo ba yan? Ano sabi ni Jamela? On Old Obando Tower, top of it. Totoo ba to? On Old Obando Tower, top of Filipino. Tapos, anong katuloy? Sinong kaklase mo? Sa pharma talaga? On Old Obando Tower, top of Filipino. First time ko latang narinig yan. Yung iba, ganyan din. To touch and feel. To touch and feel virgin girl's vagina help. Ba't kulang? Yeah. To touch and feel. Heaven. Yeah, heaven. Straight out, memorize po para sa signature ng officer sa DHT. Yun ang malupit. At least may napala ka sa kanila. Oo, to touch and feel. Tapos yung ibang letters, memorized. Yeah. So, depende, no, kung yung teacher nyo medyo bastos. Or, ano, kaya ako nilagay ang dalawang version na yan dyan eh. So, yeah. Totoo naman, yung iba, it's OOO, to touch and feel. A. So, A is A. Girls, vagina, heaven. That's one. And then, this one, yung pangalawa, it's OOO, to touch and feel. This is VG, so it's very good velvet. That heaven. So, itong second one is actually more wholesome compared to the first one. Pero panalo pa rin yung kay Jamela. On Old Obando Tower, top of Filipino Army guards, villages and huts. Yung totoo. Seryoso ba yan? Ang hirap naman yan. Alam mo yan, kung yan yung mnemonics, man, that is just hard. Ito pala, no, sasabihin ko sa inyo, para sa mga mahilig mag-mnemonics. Mnemonics are good, but you guys have to remember what are the words behind the mnemonics. Kasi sometimes, or most of the time, ang nare-retain sa atin ay yung mnemonics. So, okay, so it's OOO, to touch and feel, very good velvet, heaven. And then you think about it, it's like, shucks, ano nga ba ibig sabihin nun? Ano nga ba yung O? Ano nga ba yung next na O? At ano nga ba yung pangatlong O? Alam mo yun? The mnemonics stuck with you, but the actual words that you have to know didn't. So, para sa mga mahilig na mag-mnemonics, no? Watch out. Try to remember the words behind the mnemonics and not just the mnemonics themselves. Okay. And then, of course, this one, yung about sensory or motor or mixed. Diba? Yung sese, momo, mi, momi, se, mi, momo. So, ewan ko kung may rhyme yan sa inyo nung kinanta or ano. Pero yeah, that helps a lot. I mean, hanggang ngayon, alam ko yan. Mula noon hanggang ngayon, nag-stuck naman yan sa utak ko. And then I wrote down here on the bottom, PS 37910. What does it mean? PS 37910 would just remind me and you that cranial nerves 3, 7, 9, and 10, they do carry parasympathetic nerves. Okay? Yun ang ibig sabihin yan. PS 37910. It means that those cranial nerves would carry parasympathetic fibers. Okay, so we'll be going through them one by one. So starting from olfactory, then optic, oculomotor, trochlear, maybe end with trochlear, because this one's like long. And then, so trigeminal, abducens, you have your facial, vestibulocochlear, or your auditory. And then you have your glossopharyngeal, vagus, accessory, and then hypoglossal. Okay. So, before we even begin with the different cranial nerves, I just want to clarify some stuff with you guys. So, what are the different terms associated with cranial nerves? So, we have here the term ganglion and nucleus. Anong similarity nila? Anong pinagkaiba nila? Ganglion and the nucleus they're both a group of neurons. What's the difference? When you say nucleus, it lies within your central nervous system. When you talk about ganglion, it lies outside your central nervous system. Okay? Yun lang yun. Pareho silang group of neurons. It's just that they differ in location. When you say nucleus, it's within your CNS. When you say ganglion, it's outside your CNS. What about a nerve and a tract? May pagkakaiba pala sila, no? So, when you talk about a nerve, it's basically a group of fibers, a group of nerve fibers or axons outside the CNS. When you talk about a tract, such as your optic tract, It means it's a group of nerve fibers that is found within your central nervous system. Okay? Ano example ng tract? Yun, optic tract. So, the optic tract would originate within your CNS, and then as it goes out of the CNS, it becomes your optic nerve. Got it? So, tract is within the CNS. The nerve would be a group of nerve fibers outside your CNS. So those are just terms associated with your cranial nerves. So that way, when we discuss this one, kasi you'll be meeting these words along the road. So at least clear. So to start would be your olfactory nerve. So based on the name itself, olfactory, then you know it has something to do with the sense of smell. Olfaction, smell. So how does this work? How can we smell the things that we actually smell? So, of course, you have your olfactory epithelium. Saan makikita yung olfactory epithelium? Of course, it's within your nasal cavity. You have your olfactory epithelium. So this diagram right here on your right would be an enlarged version of this area. Okay? So, on the olfactory epithelium, since it's an epithelium, then of course it would contain cells. So you have your olfactory receptor cells right here. What's their basic function? They detect smell. Remember, what type of a nerve is your olfactory nerve? It is what? According to type, it is what? A sensory nerve. Kaya nga se, di ba? Dun sa mnemonic, se. So, se would be sensory. So, what does it sense? It senses smell. So, if there's a vapor, an odor, it would be detected by your olfactory receptor cells. Now, that stimulus would travel via your olfactory nerve filaments right here. And itong area na to, yan actually yung cribriform plate of your ethmoid bone. Cribriform plate, ito, yung bone diagram right there. So that's a cribriform plate of your ethmoid bone. That's where your olfactory bulb right here, that's your bulb, is located. So if you would take a look at this picture, so once you smell things, it would go up, it would stimulate the receptor cells, and then it would go through your olfactory bulb and then onto your brain. Okay? Now, one thing that you have to take note of with olfactory nerve, it's actually attached to your cerebrum. Okay? The root of your olfactory nerve is found on your cerebrum. You'll see later on na ang naiiba sa lahat ng mga cranial nerves would be cranial nerves 1 and 2. Kasi sila lang ang naka-attach sa cerebrum, while the rest of your cranial nerves are actually attached to the brainstem. Again, cranial nerves 1 and 2. So that would be your olfactory nerve and your optic nerve. They are not attached to your brainstem. They are actually attached to your cerebrum. Okay? So olfactory nerve attached to your cerebrum. So again, going through the process of the sense of smell. If there's a stimulus, your olfactory receptor cells would be able to detect it. And then the signal would travel your olfactory nerve filaments. It would be processed and it would go through your olfactory bulb. And then eventually it would end up in your brain. It would end up in the cerebral part of your brain. That's your olfactory nerve. Function, sense of smell. Now, what happens if your olfactory nerve is damaged? A damage to your olfactory nerve, of course, diba, would eventually lead to impaired sense of smell. If the damage is not that bad, you just have an impairment. But if the damage is total, then you lose your sense of smell. So impaired sense of smell or loss of sense of smell, depending on how big the damage is. Now, aside from impairment or loss in the sense of smell, another result of damage in the olfactory nerve would be impairment or abnormality in taste sensation. Baka naman iniisip nyo, anong kinalaman ng ano naman kinalaman ng taste sensation? Well, taste and smell, they're related. They are related. That's why, di ba? Imagine niyo, bakit kapag ka nakaamoy kayo ng mga pagkain, certain smell, parang nalasahan nyo na siya. Di ba? Parang nalasahan nyo na siya. Or bakit kaya when you eat out in a restaurant, importante na naamoy mo yung pagkain? Why? Because a sense of yung taste sensation natin, hindi lang siya nakadepende sa actual na lasa ng pagkain. But it's an overall experience. I don't know if you remember it, but in I think in OPY, one of the topics would be about taste. So what makes an entire food experience? Diba? So isipin nyo na lang yung sarili ninyo pagkakain kayo. Ano bang masarap kainin? So magla-lunch break na, ano bang masarap kainin? Sabihin na lang natin na, ano bang may distinct na smell? Sabihin natin Chicken Joy. Okay? So what adds to the food experience? Is it just the taste of the Chicken Joy? Di ba hindi? If you're a Chicken Joy fan, you know that there's a certain smell for Chicken Joy. Yep, there is a certain smell for it. So there's a certain taste for it. There's a certain smell for it. Aside from that, ano pa? What adds to your food experience? It's not just the taste. It's not just the smell. What else? Isn't it that when you take that first bite, pag kinagat nyo na siya, meron pang added sensation yun. Ano yun? Hearing. Because of what? Because of the crunchiness of the skin. Diba? So it adds to your food experience. So you have your taste. Actually, yung taste niya huli siya eh. Kasi diba, anong nauuna? It's your sight. So nakita mo yung pagkain. Your sense of sight is activated. Aside from your sight, naamoy mo yung pagkain. That's your sense of smell. And then, nung sight, smell. What do you do with the food? You pick the food up. So that's your touch. Nung hinawakan mo yung pagkain, nilapit mo siya sa bibig mo, mas naamoy mo pa siyang lalo. Di na-enhance ngayon yung sense of smell. And then when you bite on it, nandun yung crunchiness, nandun yung crispiness nung balat, nung Chicken Joy. So added sensation would be what? The hearing, as mentioned earlier, and hindi lang yung hearing, texture. Hindi ba pag kinagat mo ang crispy na balat, may crunch, texture. So it's not just you hear it, but you actually feel the crunchiness of it. And then eventually you taste it. So that is your food experience. Kung foodie ka, medyo na-experience mo lahat yun. I mean, everything comes into play and everything is important for you. Pero kung, alam mo yun, Wala. Kain ka lang ng kain. Wala kang pakialam. Yeah, I guess masaya ka na kung nalasahan mo yung pagkain. But for foodies, it's very important for them to see, to smell, to hear, to taste. No? So all those senses coming into play for a certain food experience. Okay? So, yun. Chicken Joy. I haven't had the Chicken Joy for a long time. Long time. Oh well. Going back. So that's your olfactory nerve. So basically what I'll be doing for these cranial nerves would be say the nerve, ano importance niya, anong klaseng nerve siya, and then move to impairment or damage. Ganun lang kasimple. The rest, I guess, good to know na lang yun. But these are just the basic ones that you have to know. So that's your olfactory nerve. Again, it's a sensory type of nerve. And ano yung sensory component niya? Sense of smell. So damaging it would damage your sense of smell. It can actually impair it or lose it. And aside from that, it would also impair your taste sensation. Kasi nga, ang taste has nasal component. It has a smell component. Okay. Next would be your optic nerve. Now, the optic nerve can be a bit more complicated than your olfactory nerve. Okay. So, dito muna tayo sa facts about your optic nerve. So, the optic nerve has both medial and lateral aspects. Okay. So, medial, it's close to the midline, kaya nga siya tinawag na medial, and then it crosses over at the optic chiasm. So, just read the stuff on the right, I'll explain it. We'll just read it first. So, suffice for you to know that there's two. There's a medial aspect and a lateral aspect. Medial, close to the midline. Lateral, closer to your temple side. So, mas nakalabas siya. The medial component of your optic nerve would cross over at the optic chiasm, while the lateral component would remain on the lateral side. So, we have two optic tracts. Again, ano nga ibig sabihin pag tract? It's a group of nerve fibers that would originate from your central nervous system. So, the left optic tract and the right optic tract, they would both originate from your central nervous system, particularly in your cerebrum. Okay? So, the left optic tract is composed of your left lateral optic nerve and your right medial optic nerve. Bear with me, I'll explain this. And then your right optic tract is composed of your right lateral and your left medial optic nerve. Ano ba ibig sabihin yan? Ano ba yung right, ano ba yung medial at lateral na yan, but may left and right? Okay, let's look at this diagram right here. Okay, so these are your optic tracts. You have a left optic tract and you have a right optic tract. If you would take a closer look, may dalawang kulay kayong nakikita. May green at merong red. What do they represent? Okay, so, pansinin nyo, the left optic tract has this green line. So, connected to the eye, going down, this is the lateral. Sabi natin, di ba, may medial at may lateral. Has medial and lateral aspects. Ano ba yung medial and lateral aspects? Dito muna tayo tumingin, sa left side. So, sa left side, you see a green one and a red one. The green is called lateral because it's closer to the sides, to the temple side. The red one is medial because it's closer to your midline. This is your midline right here. Let me shift to laser pointer. Here. Okay. So you have your green one on the lateral, you have your red one. So, yan ang lateral. Itong red na to, ang medial. Okay? That's on the left side. On the right side, nakikita niyo itong red. Siya yung mas nasa labas. So, siya yung lateral. And then, itong green, siya yung nasa loob. So, siya yung medial effort. Yan. Medial. Okay? So, yan yung ibig sabihin nitong taas. Medial and lateral aspect. So, may medial aspect, may lateral aspect. May medial aspect, may lateral aspect. It says here, medial, it's closer to the midline. Check. Closer to the midline. Check. Closer to the midline. And then another characteristic of that medial component is that it crosses over at the optic chiasm. It crosses over at the optic chiasm. Let's follow this red medial right here on the left side. So, down, down, down it goes. Pagdating sa optic chiasm, which is this part, itong X part na to, that's your optic chiasm right here. It crosses over. So, the red from the left side would cross over to the right. And this green one, the medial, on the right track would cross over and then go to the left side. See that? While, sabi dyan, yung lateral component, it's close to the temple, and it remains on the lateral side. So, kung susundan nyo itong green line na to, right there, dire-diretso lang siya, hindi siya nag-cross over, but instead, it just remained on the lateral side. Okay? Lateral. And then on the other side, itong red na to, it remained on the lateral, it ended on the lateral side. Okay? Got it? So, optic tract. Your left optic tract right here, it's composed of a left lateral and a right medial. Kasi diba, yun isa niya nanggaling sa other side, na medial, na nag-cross over sa optic chiasm, napunta sa left. Now, the right optic tract right here, anong component niya? Component niya yung right lateral, and then, yung medial aspect niya, yung nag-cross over galing sa kabilang side. So, right optic tract, right lateral. Alin ang opposite lagi? Yung medial, ang opposite, left. Same way with your left optic tract. Left optic tract, same side niya yung medial, same side niya yung lateral, and then yung nag-cross over, yung medial. Okay? So far, naintindihan ba? May tanong? Okay. Para sa mga kailangan ng isa pang ulit. Okay. So, from the cerebrum, you have two optic tracts. You have a left optic tract and you have a right optic tract. Okay? Now, the optic tract, so it's one group. Okay? Stemming from your cerebrum. As it goes out, it reaches this intersection. The intersection you call your optic chiasm. Okay. In the optic chiasm, the medial part or the inner part crosses the optic chiasm to go into the other side. Okay? So, kung ito yung left optic tract, itong mas nasa loob, it crosses to the other side. And it goes to your right eye. Same thing happens on the right optic tract. The fiber that's on the medial, yung nasa loob, it would cross over to the other side. To your left. Okay? So, on the eye, sa eyeball mismo, you'd end up with what? You'd end up with one fiber originating from the left side and then another fiber actually originating from the opposite side. So same with your right. One fiber originated on the same side, which is the right, and then the other fiber, in reality, originated from the other side. Okay? So, naintindihan ba up to that point ang optic nerve? Let me just clear my stuff. Let me see. Can you give me 1 if you understand, or 2 if meron kayong hindi magets? Then we can I can clarify some stuff for you. Kasi hindi pa dyan nagtatapos. Hindi pa dyan nagtatapos ang optic nerve. Okay? Guys, pag tinanong ko kayo ng kung naintindihan nyo, I mean, cargo nyo yan ha. If you say you understood, then I would think you understood. But if you did not understand, or if you need some clarifications, well, sige, baguhin na lang natin. If you need some more clarifications, then, don't type in 1. Type in 2. Yun na lang. Pero, yun na nga. I'd be happy to explain further. Or rephrase it, maybe. Because there's no other explanation. Just rephrasing it would help. Okay, so I get once. All right, let's go back. Okay, so if it's clear up to this point, good. Kasi ibang usapan itong nandito sa taas. This is another story. Okay, so itong nandito sa baba, if it's all good, good. I'll continue. And if it's still not good, for sure, mababalikan pa rin natin yan when I discuss this one on top. Okay. Now, what do you see here? So this is your left visual field and this is your right visual field. Meaning, ito yung nakikita ng kaliwang mata mo, ito yung nakikita ng kanan na mata mo. Now, what happened? You see the arrows, right? So, we said that here on the left side, yung medial, itong red. Diba? Medial tong red. And then, on the lateral aspect, yun yung green. Diba? Malinaw. Sa left side, green lateral, red medial. Up to this point. Kumabit siya sa mata. Red on the medial, green on the lateral. Okay. Now, what happens when the optic nerve would reach the eyes? Pagdating dito, ano napansin ninyo sa arrow? The red, which is the medial, would actually be projecting on the lateral side of your left visual field. While the green one, which is on the lateral right here, would actually project things onto the medial side of your visual field. So ano nangyari? Dito, nag-cross na nga siya sa optic chiasm. Pagdating dito, yung vision, nag-cross ulit. So, red, medial, pag nakita mo na yung mga bagay, the red medial part of your optic nerve is actually responsible for you to see in your temporal vision. Temporal meaning side, lateral side. While the lateral fiber, the lateral nerve fiber right here is actually responsible for you to see the nasal side. Magulo na ba? Naguluhan kayo? Again, So with the way we see things, imagine nyo na lang yung mata nyo, dinivide sa, like per eye, if you cover one eye and then this one, it's divided into two visual fields. So the left visual field is actually divided into two. You have your temporal side, yung mas lateral, kumbaga yung peripheral vision mo, and then you have your nasal side. So kung dinivide mo yung mata, divided into two, one you have a temporal side and one you have a nasal side. Okay. So what you see on your temporal side, yung nasa gilid, the one responsible for that is actually the nerve which is closer to the midline. So nag-cross siya, as what you can see in the diagram. So on the right side, it's the same thing. Yung nakikita mo sa peripheral vision, sa side, the one responsible for that is the nerve which is closer to your nose, the medial one. Okay? So nag-cross siya. So again, if you have questions, then just, let me know. Now, that's that. Why is this important? Why am I setting this foundation? Kasi when we talk about the damage, then you'll understand it better, hopefully. But here, on this slide, what else do I want to say? Here, so sabi natin, no, optic tract. When you say tract, it's a group of nerve fibers that's found within your central nervous system. So optic tract, this one arises from your cerebrum. And then the optic tract is actually connected to your lateral geniculate nuclei. Again, nuclei. Dinefine na natin to kanina. When we say nuclei, it's a group of neurons. It's a group of nerve cells that you can find within your CNS, your central nervous system. Okay? So the optic tract is actually connected to your lateral geniculate nuclei, and then that is actually connected further to your visual cortex. So, how is vision transmitted? Remember, it's sensory. Diba? Optic nerve, sensory. So when you see something right here, your optic cells, your receptor cells would be stimulated, and then that stimulus would be would pass on information on this side, the medial side, crossing over the optic chiasm, and then once it reaches your optic tract, it ends up in your lateral geniculate nuclei, and then eventually that information would be passed on to your visual cortex, and then it would be interpreted by your brain as to kung ano yung nakikita mo dito, okay, sa area na to. So whatever you see here eventually will be processed at your cortex, visual cortex. It would be processed and then interpreted, and then you'll know ano yung nakikita mo. Okay, so optic nerve, sensory, sense of sight. Okay, now what happens if there's optic nerve damage? The reason why I took time explaining to you earlier this slide, it's because of this. Okay, what happens when the optic nerve is damaged? Okay. Etong mga slash na to na nakikita nyo, that's the area of damage. Okay? So, let's take this one, for example. This one, the damage occurred at the optic nerve level, right here. Nakat ito. So, ano mangyayari pag nakat itong nerve na to at this junction? Everything here is going well except for this. Dito nagkaroon ng damage. Dito nagkaroon ng lesion. What happens? So this is the right side. Diba? This is your right eye. Ito yung naputol. So what happens? Take a look at this side. Now, if the lesion is found on the right side at the optic nerve area, your left eye would still be able to see. Ano ibig sabihin itong left and right half? Diba sabi ko kanina, you divide the eye, one eye into two, you have a temporal field and you have a temporal field and you have a nasal field. So on the left side, dahil tuloy-tuloy, walang damage at all, you can see on the temporal side and you can see on the nasal side. No problem. What about on the right side? Because the damage occurred at the optic nerve level right here, everything was cut off. Diba? As in, wala nang tumuloy papunta sa eyeball. Nothing. Everything was cut off. So, if the damage is at the optic nerve level, kung saang side yung lesion, that eye would be what? Non-functional. It means you go blind. You go blind. Yay. You go blind. Okay? Hopefully, this level is clear. So, when the optic nerve is damaged at this level, kung nasaan yung damage, that eye goes blind. Blind. And then the other eye is good. This is the first one, optic nerve level. Okay? Now, what if the damage occurred at the chiasm, optic chiasm level, right here, dead smack center. Optic chiasm level. Ano nga meron sa optic chiasm level or sa optic chiasm area? Remember, optic chiasm is where the medial parts would cross. The medial aspect of your nerve would cross. Dun sila nagko-cross over. Okay. So let's follow the line. Now, what happens if the damage is at the optic chiasm level? So let's take a look at the left eye first. So from the left eye, coming from here, so yung lateral, tuloy-tuloy. Walang naputol. Diba? But what happened to the medial aspect? The medial aspect, which came from the right side, naputol siya. Diba? So technically, ang functional na lang sa level na to for your left eye would be the lateral. Pero ano nga sabi natin? Pagdating sa eyeball, yung lateral, mapoproject siya sa inward, sa nasal side. Again, temporal, nasal. So, left side, right here. Green, tuloy-tuloy, tuloy-tuloy, tuloy, hanggang sa mata. Check. Pagdating sa mata, anong makikita niya? Nasal side. So, nakita niyo yung nasal side? Ito siya. Check. Nakakakita siya. Nasal side. What about the temporal side? Saan ba nanggaling yung makakakita dapat sa temporal side? Remember, it should come from the right side and cross over at the optic chiasm level. Kaso, yung lesion nasa chiasm level. So, ano nangyari dun sa nerve na dapat pupunta dito sa may eyeball? Putol. Ano ba ang sineserve nitong medial side na to? It crosses over to your temporal side. So, dahil nawala na to, anong nangyari? Ito na siya. Bulag. Right here. Right here. Blind. Now, take a look at the right side. The right side. So, itong red. Right lateral. Tuloy-tuloy si right lateral. So, si right lateral na nasa lateral side. Pero ang projection niya ay nasa medial, nasa nasal side. Nakakita ka pa rin. Walang putol. Check. Oops. You don't see the check mark. So, right here. Check. Nakakakita ka pa din. But then, yung temporal side, baliktad dito, diba? Temporal mas nasa labas, nasal nasa loob. But then again, itong temporal side, ano nangyari? Yung green na supposedly nanggaling sa kabilang side, naputol dito sa gitna. So, bulag. Bulag siya dito. Right here. That's why it's black. Okay? That's your optic chiasm level. Pag nandyan yung level ng lesion, yun ang ibig sabihin yan. If the damage occurred at the optic chiasm level, then this is what's gonna happen. Yung lateral mo, both temporal sides would be blind. So, wala kang nakikita on the sides. Okay? Now, the other level would be a lesion on the optic tract. So what does that mean? If you would take a look at the picture on the left, the lesion would be on the actual optic tract itself. Nandito na yung damage. Yeah, makita. So the damage is right there at the optic tract level. So, sundan natin ulit. Let's trace it. So since the lesion is on the right optic tract, what happens? On the right side, so putol yung pupunta sa right lateral, di ba? Kasi doon nangyari yung lesion. So yung pumunta sa right lateral, putol, eh yung right lateral na to, ang pinoproject niya ay yung nasal side. So ano nangyari sa nasal side? Bulag. Right here, bulag. Now, what about yung kabilang aspect niya? Remember, it came from the other side. The left side has no lesion. So, the left medial, tuloy-tuloy siya, nakarating siya dito sa eye, and then it would project towards your temporal. So, dahil tuloy-tuloy to, walang lesion, walang break, so, makakita siya sa side na yan. Check. Now, let's move on to the left side, to the left optic tract. On the left optic tract, walang lesion. Kasi nga, nandito yung lesion, di ba? Right here. Sorry, right here. So, on the left side, walang lesion. So, yung left lateral, tuloy-tuloy, tuloy-tuloy, si left lateral. Si left lateral, nagpo-project pa medial or pa nasal. So, yung nasal field, right here, check. Nakakakita siya. Check. Right there. Okay? Now, what about the lateral side? The lateral side is actually coming from the medial part of the nerve, which came from the other side, na may sira or may lesion or may damage. Kaya naman, itong side na to, itong periphery na to ay bulag. Right here. Okay? So what's the whole point of this? It tells you which side of the eye is would go blind depending on the level of the lesion. Why did I take time to explain this? Because questions like this can be so tricky kung hindi nyo siya naiintindihan. Ito yung example kasi ng mga i-memorize mo na lahat, pero pag hindi mo naintindihan, baguhin lang ang isang word, then, malilito ko na. So, kung memorize mo lang yung tanong at memorize mo yung sagot, pag may binago lang ng konti dun sa tanong, hindi mo na alam yung sagot. So, that's why you have to, understand what it is. I mean, this one, this is fairly simple now for you. Okay, I hope you get it, but if you do have a question, then you know the drill. Just ask. Okay? Okay, again, Optic nerve damage depends on where the lesion is. It can be on the optic nerve level, it can be on the chiasm level, or it can be on the optic tract level. If it's on the optic nerve level, kung nasaan yung lesion, yun yung eye na mabubulag. That's it. Ganun kasimple. If the lesion is on the optic nerve, if it says right optic nerve lesion, then right eye bulag. Tapos ang usapan. Wala nang isip. Walang isip-isip. Right optic nerve damage, right side blind. Okay? If it says the lesion is on the optic chiasm level, okay? Ano mangyayari pag optic chiasm level? Lateral sides ang bulag. Or the temporal sides. Temporal or lateral, they both mean the same. Outwards, yun ang bulag. Periphery, yun ang bulag. Okay? So, lateral side, optic chiasm level. If the lesion is on the optic tract level, like right here, so optic tract, right side, yung nasira, ano ang makakakita would be yung nanggaling sa kabilang side. So, yung left medial, na tandaan nyo, nagko-crossover, left medial, pero ang nakikita niya ay yung lateral side. Okay? So, ganun din sa left eye. Dahil sira yung medial side na nakakakita ng lateral side, bulag siya sa lateral side. Okay? So, that's the optic tract level. So, tandaan nyo lang that at the optic chiasm level, nag-cross yung medial. At the level of the eyeball, nag-cross din, again, yung paningin. So, it's like a mirror. If you wanna see it like that. Okay? Okay? All right. Okay, so that's optic nerve damage. Cranial nerve number 2. Okay, next. Cranial nerve number 3. So, mo. What's mo? Mo would be motor. So, your cranial nerve number 3 is actually a motor nerve. What does it mean? A motor nerve is for movement, muscular movement. A sensory nerve is for the senses. A motor nerve is for movement. So, cranial nerve number 3 is a motor nerve. It's a purely motor nerve. Sesemo, yeah. It's a purely motor nerve. So, that's your oculomotor nerve. Well, nandun na siya sa pangalan niya, di ba? So, what's your oculomotor nerve? It's a motor nerve that supplies 4 of your extraocular muscles. So, it's extraocular, meaning muscles that are attached to the eyes. Extraocular, nasa labas ng mata. Okay? Motor nerve that supplies 4 out of 6 extraocular muscles. So, ano ang hindi niya sinusuplayan? Hindi niya sinusuplayan, what you can remember would be SO4-LR6. It's like a chemical formula. SO4-LR6. What does that mean? SO4 meaning where's my point? There. SO4 meaning what? SO would be your superior oblique. It would be supplied by your cranial nerve 4. LR would be your lateral rectus. And it would be supplied by your cranial nerve 6. That's what it means, SO4-LR6. Kasi sabi niya, di ba, it's the motor nerve that supplies 4 out of 6. So, ano yung exception? Except your superior oblique, which is supplied by 4th cranial nerve, and your lateral rectus supplied by your 6th cranial nerve, SO4-LR6. And that's pretty easy. So, kung may muscles na binanggit na hindi SO at na hindi superior oblique at hindi lateral rectus, tapos eye muscle daw, di oculomotor yan. Alright, so what are the four nerves, muscles supplied by your oculomotor nerve? So you have your superior rectus, you have your inferior rectus, your medial rectus, and your inferior oblique. They're pretty easy. Why? Kasi superior rectus, edi nasa taas. Kaya nga superior eh. Okay. Superior rectus, right there on top. Inferior rectus, right there on the bottom. Medial rectus, di ibig sabihin nandito yung ilong sa side na to. Okay, medial side. And then inferior oblique. So oblique, it's slanted right here. So ano to? Well, obviously, kung ito ang medial rectus, edi ito yung lateral rectus. Bakit wala yung lateral rectus dyan? Kasi nga LR6. Right there. Tapos dito, ito yung inferior oblique. So, kung may inferior oblique, edi may superior oblique. Nasaan kaya yung superior oblique? Edi nandito. Kadugtong yan. So, ba't wala siya? Kasi nga, SO, superior oblique, 4. Whoops. There you go. SO4. Okay? So, superior rectus, anong function niya? It moves the eye upwards. Medial rectus, it moves the eye towards the nose. Medial. Inferior rectus, it moves the eye downwards. Inferior oblique, it moves the eye up and out. Up and out. Up and out. Inferior oblique. Okay, so that's your basic eye muscles. So aside from the four eye muscles that the oculomotor nerve would supply, it would also supply your levator palpebrae superioris muscle, levator palpebrae superioris, that's your eyelid, your upper eyelid. And it would also supply the ciliary ganglion and your ciliary muscles. So what are they for? The ciliary ganglion, that's the one responsible for pupillary constriction. And your ciliary muscle, that's the one responsible for lens accommodation. What's lens accommodation? It's the flattening of the lens when close up, when you're looking at close up things. Diba? So, pupillary constriction, ang responsible doon, ciliary ganglion. What supplies your ciliary ganglion? Your oculomotor nerve. And then ciliary muscle, the one responsible for the flattening and the curving of the lens. Oculomotor nerve din ang nagsusupply sa kanya. Okay, so that's your oculomotor nerve. Those are the muscles that it innervates. Superior rectus, medial rectus, inferior oblique. You have your levator palpebrae superioris and your ciliary ganglion and your ciliary muscles. Oculomotor nerve. Hooey. Next. Now we talk about nucleus. Nuclei. Again, for the nth time. Nucleus. What's a nucleus? It's a group of neurons, nerve cell bodies that's located in your central nervous system. That's your nucleus. Nakikita niyo naman, di ba? Based on the drawing, it's on your central nervous system. So, oculomotor nerve. The oculomotor nerve is actually associated with two types of nucleus. You have your Edinger-Westphal nucleus and your oculomotor nucleus. What's the difference? The oculomotor nucleus is basically responsible for controlling your four eye muscles and your levator palpebrae. So the oculomotor part, right here, the oculomotor nucleus, it's basically the motor nucleus. It processes stimulus coming from your muscles. Okay. On the other hand, your Edinger-Westphal nucleus is the one responsible for controlling the pupillary sphincter and your ciliary muscles, for lens accommodation and for pupillary constriction. Ang nag-govern nun would be your Edinger-Westphal nucleus. If it's just muscular movement, up, down, medial, it's going to be your oculomotor nucleus. But if it's for pupil constriction and lens accommodation, so it's the eye itself. How would you differentiate for you to remember it easily? Pag yung muscle, extrinsic muscle, extrinsic muscle, oculomotor nucleus. If it's about the eye itself, okay? Bakit natin nasabi eye itself? Because you're talking about pupillary sphincter. It controls dilation and constriction of your eyes. It controls the lens, ciliary muscles. If it's the eye itself, then everything will be processed by your Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Okay? So those are the two nuclei associated with your oculomotor nerve. Now, what's this on the side? Remember, PS 37910? So 3, PS3. It means it has parasympathetic fibers running through it. So the oculomotor nerve has parasympathetic fibers running to your lacrimal gland and your ciliary lens. The green one right here represents your parasympathetic fibers going to your ciliary lens and to your lacrimal gland. Okay, PS3. And that's your oculomotor nerve. Now, what happens if the oculomotor nerve is damaged? If the oculomotor nerve is damaged, then it causes deficits in the ipsilateral eye, meaning same side damage. So if the left side is damaged, then it's the left eye that's affected. If the right side is affected, then it's the right eye. If the right side is damaged, then it's the right eye that's affected. Okay? Ipsi, alam niyo yan. Ipsi meaning same side. So causes deficit in ipsilateral eye. Now what happens? Oh, well, several things can happen depending on, the damage, right? You can have a down and out deviation. Down and out, meaning your eye is down and out. So when does that happen? It happens when your medial rectus and your inferior oblique is malfunctioning. Medial rectus and inferior oblique is malfunctioning. Bakit medial rectus? What does the medial rectus do? Diba? It enables the eye to move towards the medial side. So imagine kung yung humihila sa mata natin sa inner side, sa medial side na damage, saan pupunta yung eyeball? Eh di sa kabilang side. Kaya, out. Down and out. Diba? Inferior oblique. What does the inferior oblique do? It can move the eye upward. Diba? It can move the eye upward. And na-damage siya. So, saan mapupunta ngayon yung mata? Wala nang pwedeng humila sa kanya pataas, di pababa. So, it's the opposite. Okay? And then what else can happen? An oculomotor nerve damage can cause ptosis. What does this mean? Ayan. Kita niyo yung eyelid niya? Nakababa. Why? Kasi na-damage yung oculomotor nerve, which is responsible for your levator palpebrae muscle. What does this do? Levator. Levator. It elevates. What does it elevate? Your eyelid. So, kung yung nag-elevate na eyelid mo, nasira, edi ano mangyari? Edi para kang half-closed yung mata mo. Diba? Ptosis. Okay. Another effect of oculomotor nerve damage would be mydriasis. So, pupillary constriction would be impaired. Remember, oculomotor is also responsible for pupillary constriction and for lens accommodation. So, kung sira yung mechanism ng mata for pupillary constriction, then it means na yung mata mo palaging mukhang dilated, which looks like this. And what do you call that condition? It's mydriasis. It's when the pupils are so dilated, it cannot constrict. So mydriasis, that's the condition. Dilated pupils, mydriasis. And then another problem would be difficulty moving the eye medially and vertically. Yeah, eye medially, well, kung na-damage nga yung medial rectus, edi hindi mo siya move medially. Kung na-damage yung superior rectus, edi magkakaroon ka ng problema vertically. What else? You can also have diplopia. What's diplopia? Double vision. Bakit ka magkakaroon ng double vision? Kasi if the eye is not centered at wandering siya dahil hindi niya alam kung may muscle weakness somewhere because there's a nerve damage, then it can lead to double vision. It's as if dala-dalawa yung nakikita mo kasi yung focus ng mata sira. Diba? It's like it's like when you see through the lens of a camera. Diba? Habang ina-adjust mo yung lente ng camera, sometimes you'd see double. You'd see double until makuha mo yung tamang focus. So it's the same thing. If our lenses cannot accommodate well because of oculomotor damage, then you'd have double vision and you'd have trouble focusing. Okay, so that's oculomotor nerve damage. Moving on. Next, we have your trochlear nerve. Trochlear nerve, SO4. Remember, SO4. So, sesemomo. So, again, this is another motor nerve. Trochlear nerve, SO4. SO meaning superior oblique. So, superior oblique. This is your superior rectus, inferior oblique, medial, lateral. So, trochlear nerve, a motor nerve, SO4, superior oblique. So, ito siya. Ganun siya. So, what does your superior oblique muscle do? It moves your eye down and out. Down and out. Okay? There's not much to trochlear nerve, but superior oblique. That's it. Now, what's the nucleus associated with your trochlear nerve? The nucleus, the only nucleus associated with it would be your trochlear nucleus. Easy. Trochlear nerve, trochlear nucleus. Now, what can we take note of regarding your trochlear nerve? With the trochlear nerve right here, as you can see, let's trace this red line right here. So this is your trochlear nerve. We're going to go back to your brainstem. You see where this is going? It went to the opposite side. Right there. Opposite side. Kita nyo? So it went all the way to the opposite side. Right there. So, what does that mean? It means the nerve would originate in one side and then it would go to the contralateral side, to the other side muscle. Okay, so it's not same side, it's contralateral for your trochlear nerve. Another thing to take note of for the trochlear nerve, it's the only nerve that emerges from the posterior surface of the brainstem. Your trochlear nerve. Check. It's the nerve that would emerge from the posterior surface of your brainstem. And the nerve would originate on the contralateral side, and it would travel to the other side. Okay? So that's all about your trochlear nerve. So what happens if there's a trochlear nerve damage? In a trochlear nerve damage, such as this one, there's going to be an upward deviation of the eye. Why would there be an upward deviation? Remember, your superior oblique is responsible for moving the eye down and out. So, if it's damaged, it couldn't move the eye down. So, nasan yung mata ngayon? Nandun sa taas. Because nobody is pulling it downwards. Okay? So, that's why you'd end up with an upward deviation. And then, again, there's going to be diplopia. Kasi wala sa tamang balance yung mata. So, you're gonna be having double visions. And then, the tendency now for the person is to do a compensatory head tilt. What does that mean? What does that mean, a compensatory head tilt? You know how sometimes when you can't see things, you tilt your head? You tilt your head just so you can see better. So when you tilt your head, kasi nga 'di ba, sira yung muscle that would hold the eye or that would pull the eye down. 'Di ba? So what happens is you tilt your head as if, laruan, 'di ba? Like when you tilt it, it's as if the eye would go down. But it doesn't really go down because it's still high up, but you tilt your head so you see that way. That's the compensatory head tilt. Okay? So there's that. For your trochlear nerve. Trochlear nerve damage. Okay, so there's an upwards deviation, there's a diplopia or your double vision, and then there's your compensatory head tilt. Okay, so that's your sesemomo. So we talked about 2 sensory nerves and 2 motor nerves. Your olfactory, optic, and then you have your oculomotor and then your trochlear nerve. 2 sensories and 2 motor nerves. Sensory, senses, motor, muscle movement. Any questions? Let's see. If you have questions. Questions. charity. So this, we have your question. Question: does that mean that the Edinger-Westphal nucleus part is the one damaged specifically for mydriasis? Well, yes and no. How can I term that better? Yeah, it's a yes and no answer. Hold on, let me go back to that slide. Here. Okay. So why is it a yes and no answer? So ulitin natin. Ang tanong ay, does that mean that the Edinger-Westphal nucleus part is the one damaged specifically for mydriasis? Well, yes and no. What do I mean by that? When we say mydriasis, it's basically dilation. Dilation of the eye. Dilation of the eye can be normal. I mean, yeah, it is a normal phenomenon. When our eyes would dilate and when our eyes would constrict. Diba? It depends on the need. So, hindi ibig sabihin na dilated yung pupil ay may damage na dun sa Edinger-Westphal nucleus. Okay? So, again, ulitin ko, it doesn't mean when the eyes are dilated, may damage sa Edinger-Westphal nucleus. No. It can just be because of light accommodation. Diba? Subukan mo na ilawan yung mata ng isang tao. Tingnan mo kung ano mangyayari. Would the pupils constrict or would it dilate? So, in normal constriction and dilation of pupils, mydriasis is normal. Kapag normally dilated siya, there's no damage in your Edinger-Westphal nucleus. However, if the Edinger-Westphal nucleus is damaged, ang result nun would be mydriasis. I mean, one of the results would be mydriasis. Yeah. I mean, if you think of it that way. Pero hindi ibig sabihin na kapag may mydriasis, may nuclear damage. It can be just a normal phenomenon na dilated yung pupils because of light accommodation. That can be one reason. There's no one damage specifically, yeah. So again, mydriasis, it can be due to a damage in Edinger-Westphal. Yes, but it can also be just a natural phenomenon. All right. Another question, sabi ni Irvin ay, if damage sa optic chiasm, same din ba sa double vision yon or hindi? Kasi blind po sa temporal side. Let's go back to that slide. Look for that slide. Here. Tanong niya ay if ang damage ay sa optic chiasm level. Right here. Would it be the same as, okay. If damage sa optic chiasm, same din ba sa double vision yun or hindi? Kasi blind ang temporal side. Well, here you'd see blindness, no, on the temporal side, on the temporal aspect. Kasi when you say double vision, it's let me rephrase that. Good question. Nasaan na? Slide. double vision. Kasi diba, pagka ang double vision ay nakikita mo dalawa ng paulit, yung dalawang bagay, meaning, nagkakross siya. But if your temporal side is blind, it's as if you have a double vision too. It could be same. Kasi technically, ang nakikita mo na lang yung gitna na wala kang periphery. It could lead to a double vision, but let me get back to you on that. Okay, so meron na rin akong assignment. I'll get back to you on that kasi it can be. Yes, true, blind yung temporal side. Kasi, well, based on the diagram right here, if you're on the chiasm level, so blind-sided ka dito sa temporal, and then on the other temporal side, blind-sided ka. So pagkadating dito, so this is your nasal side, this is your other nasal side. So it could be, now when this would cross path, like vision from here and vision from here, it can be interpreted by the brain as double vision. It could be, yeah. I mean, logically, it looks like it is, but I will get back to you on that. Ano pa? Meron pang tanong? So, si Irvin, babalikan kita dyan sa iyong tanong. It could be, yes. I mean, logically speaking, yeah. Meron pa? Meron pa kayong katanungan? Any other questions? So hopefully, like for Venn, that would be clear. If a person has mydriasis, it doesn't mean there's a damage. It can be just a normal phenomenon. But if your Edinger-Westphal nucleus is damaged, then one side effect could be mydriasis. With regards to optic chiasm damage, yes, the temporal sides, the temporal fields would both be blinded. Now, when you see like nasal lung sa gitna, yeah, there could be double vision, but I will get back to you on that. Any other questions? I will stop here because if I start with trigeminal nerve, I don't know. Kung gaano oras tayo abutin. All right, guys? If you have further questions, you can just type in your question like on this video, like comment on this video, or you can just post it on the group. Either way, that's a good one. You guys remember, type in Q and then your question. That's so helpful. And so for those of you watching replays, if you have questions, feel free to ask. If I don't give you the answer outright, you'll get it from me. Okay? I mean, not my forte, but, willing to search about it. What else? Oh nga pala, I forgot to tell you this. So one trick that I have learned over quarantine period, because I, watched a lot of stuff, learning online. If you watch the replay, or if you just, watch the replay, or just to refresh yourselves, you can actually fast track watching. You don't have to watch it at 1.0 speed. You can double up the speed to 2 times faster or 2.5 times faster if you use Chrome. Of course, on live, if you watch live, you cannot fast forward things. But if you watch the replay and you just want to watch the video faster, then use Google Chrome and then download the extension. Google Chrome extension Video Speed Controller. So download that extension, and then with whatever video that you play using Chrome, you can change the speed, just like how you can do it on YouTube. Diba? Kasi sa Facebook, hindi mo mapalitan yung speed. You can only change the quality of the video, but not the speed. So if you use Google Chrome, you download the Google Chrome extension called Video Speed Controller. So once you download it, grant access to it, and then you can speed up your videos, playing your videos up to, I don't know, 4 times, 5 times faster, if you can even understand 5 times. But yeah, that's just one tip. All right. So that way, when you watch replays and when you just want to listen to it again, it'll go faster. And you can skip through every 10 seconds. You hit some buttons, it fast forward. Skips 10 seconds each. All right. So this is where we end tonight. And oh no, not tonight. Was tonight for me. This is where we end this session today. And I hope you guys learned something. If you guys have any further questions, just drop your comments and I'll answer them when able. All right. So you guys have a good day, and don't forget another assignment that you guys have. Accomplishment report for June. Let's see what you guys have done and let's celebrate with you. All right. See you again. Bye.